you doing? This is Black Shy Guy. Welcome once again to another freaking episode. And as always, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And also subscribe if you're not a resident of Chi-Town. And as always, thank you for sitting at my table. We're going to get into the Stephen A. Smith situation with LeBron James. And listen, before I continue, I like LeBron James. He's one of my favorite basketball players of all time. He is my favorite. I'm telling you, he's my favorite. I got all his jerseys. If you follow me on social media, I got all his jerseys. But I must have a say-so on the way he acted towards Stephen A. Smith. And if you know me, I don't like when Stephen A. Smith stands correct. I don't, because Stephen A. Smith never stands 10 toes deep on anything he debates on anything, because he always wants that opportunity to swing the opposite way when it goes wrong. You know what I mean? He always tries to cover his tracks. That's why he never stands 10 toes deep on anything. But we're going to get into this LeBron James situation that transpired between Stephen A. Smith on the sidelines when he was at the Laker game. And it was very, very interesting. I never seen LeBron James look that angry other than being in a press-off conference talking to reporters who ask basically asinine questions. But this is the first time I've ever seen him go at Stephen A. Smith in the way he went at him. And as a father, he had every right to. But when it comes to being a professional, when it comes to being in the eyes of the media, when it comes to basically basically proclaiming that you are the king, I mean, as they say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. You always wanted to be the king, LeBron. You always wanted to be the king. And your son is basically running right behind you when it comes to a basketball career. So obviously he's also going to get critiqued for the simple fact that you said a lot of things about your son when it comes to comparing other basketball players to him. And now it's biting your son in the ass. But I'm jumping far ahead. Let's jump into what transpired with Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. And Stephen A. Smith has some choice words with LeBron James, not directly, but during his podcast. Let's take a look.
Bronny James. Before I get any further, let me just put to bed.
I jumped ahead because I wanted to skip all the minutia. I wanted to skip all the minutia when it comes to Stephen A. Smith talking about this situation. We're going to go directly into what LeBron James actually said to Stephen A. Smith on the sidelines. And it's very, very forthtelling because a lot of people came out with their assumptions. You got these professional lip readers that want to come out and say, well, LeBron said this, that, and the third. Stephen A. Smith on his podcast, which I like his podcast. I really like his podcast, despite the fact that I disagree with him on a lot of situations when it comes to political situations. But nonetheless, I enjoy his podcast.
A couple of things that have been reported that are false. People was talking about LeBron called me out my name, or I saw somebody said he called me a bitch. Somebody said he called me a punk and all this. None of that is true. He was fiery. He approached me during the game. And he said, stop effing with my son. That's my effing son. Stop effing with my son. I said, what? Nah, man, straight up, man to man. Real talk. Stop effing with my son. And I saw how furious he was.
Before Stephen A. continues, I'm going to input on what I think is why I believe it's uncalled for that LeBron James said what he said to Stephen A. Smith. Because, number one, everybody remembers the comment you said, LeBron. Everybody remembers the comment you said about your son, about him being better than half the league when he comes in. That basically his actions is going to talk louder than any words he can say. So that's why they're going to stay quiet on everybody critiquing his son. And now that he went into the league and is having a horrendous start to his rookie career, which is obviously it's logical to have a very horrific rookie career. Everybody doesn't come out the gate on fire like Caitlin Clark. You know, I had to say that. But it is what it is. It's the truth. Not everybody comes out the gate on fire. So the fact that you had those comments to say about your son, about his professional career, coming out the gates as a rookie, everybody's going to critique him on anything he does. You put that burden on your son, LeBron. You put that burden on your son. And now your son is paying for it. It was your fault, and that's what Stephen A. Smith was talking about. Stephen A. Smith was not talking about your son, LeBron. Stephen A. Smith was talking about you, and I 100% agree with what he said on his podcast when he was actually talking about not Bronny James, but LeBron James. Let's continue.
And I said, we can talk about it later. Nah, F that. Stop effing with my son. That's my son. I said, all right, dog. Fine. And he walked away. That's all he said.
Now we got the full gist of what LeBron said to Stephen A. Smith during that altercation. And I got something to say. Okay, got something to say. I understand that a lot of people do not like Stephen A. Smith. There's a lot of things I do not like about Stephen A. Smith. And one of those things is what I just mentioned in the beginning of this episode. He doesn't stand 10 toes deep on a lot of situations because he wants that opportunity to lean the opposite way when it goes wrong. But when it comes to Bronny James, when it comes to LeBron James' son, he had every right to critique him for the simple fact that LeBron James came out with such a false narrative when it comes to his son's talent coming out the gates as a rookie into the NBA. LeBron James is 100% responsible for what is happening to Bronny James. He is 100% responsible. And I believe he knows that. That's why he's acting the way he's acting. Even Candace Owens came out on her podcast and basically verbalized 100% accurately as to why LeBron James is acting the way he's acting. LeBron James is 100% wrong when it comes to his reaction to this whole situation. Stephen A. Smith stood 10 toes deep on this one, and I give him credit for that. Finally, he stood 10 toes deep. He didn't apologize for what he said about Bronny James, which obviously is not about Bronny James, but towards LeBron James and his freaking theory about his son's talent when he goes into the NBA. So Stephen A. Smith didn't apologize. And I give him credit for that. I do give him credit for that. Let me know what you guys think. What you guys think about this whole situation when it comes to LeBron James confronting Stephen A. Smith. As you all know, I haven't been consistent on my channel. I'm going to try to stay consistent because the key word this year in 2025 is consistency. And I do apologize for those who stood with me and are still subscribed. This is Black Shy Guy. And as always, thank you for sitting at my table. I'm out of here. Peace.
Arch criminal who must be put away. Another innocent victim of homicidal maniac.